Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this special Sunday edition of Jake's Hot Takes. I am your host, Jake McVey, you guessed it, joined here by my favorite sidekick, Matthew Galgano.
Yes, I'm here in the flesh.
And this is going to be a bit of an exciting episode because we are experimenting a little bit.
I'd say it's a new era.
Yeah,
for the show.
The football season is quickly coming to a close, and after that, we still need to do a show. So we're going to be talking a little basketball today. I hope you all are excited. Don't touch that dial, please, please. I know you're reaching for it. Don't touch it. We're here.
Just because the Pro Bowl games aren't enough to keep our attention. So we gotta find something else.
Definitely not. And you know what I want to talk about right now? The offensive and defensive player of the year conversations.
NFL awards coming up this week.
Let's start with the Opoy because I actually think that there's not really much competition. I mean, there's two front runners, and one of them is just, really good, obviously really good, but the other one is like next level. You know who I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Jamar Chase.
So
he's obviously it's Saquon and Jamar Chase that are in the front runner, but Jamar Chase, he's having a legendary season. This Bengals team just is not that good right now, and he's just been outstanding really this season.
Okay.
Is that not who you're thinking?
Okay. No, I wasn't. I was actually thinking Saquon.
Oh, okay.
As previously established. Yeah. As previously established. The guy that is on like an Adrian Peterson MVP season level pace right now.
Yes, but realistically, I think it's a wide known fact that Saquon is just a Landon Dickerson merchant. He's a Eagles offensive line merchant. And the thing about Jamar Chase is that he's competing for targets with T. Higgins.
Okay, and Jamar Chase is a Joe Burrow merchant. What are we talking about here? You can't judge a player just off of you can't dictate whether a player is Opoy or not just based off their supporting cast. I mean, like it or not, Joe Burrow is one of the most talented passers in the league, and Jamar Chase definitely benefits. You think we would be having this conversation if Jamar Chase was, I don't know, had Russell Wilson throwing him the ball?
Yeah, but do you also think that Saquon benefits from Jalen Hurts' lack of a passing ability?
That is an interesting conversation in and of itself. You know what? That's actually not a bad point, but what I'll say is that it's not like Jalen Hurts is a non-existent passer, the same way that, just because the Bengals have a more prominent passing game as opposed to their rushing game doesn't necessarily mean that Jamar Chase is benefiting from the Bengals offensive scheme, which, of course, everyone's benefiting from their offensive schemes. That's what they're supposed to do.
Also, the thing about Jamar Chase is that he had such a stellar season, and a lot of it he did by himself. He was by far the leader in yards after catch this season. He had almost 800 yards after catch this season, and it wasn't even close to the second person. Devon Achane was the second place yards after catch person, and he had like 630, and after like lower than that was Khalil Shakir, who had 590.
Devon Achane was second in yards after catch this season? Wow.
Yes.
I didn't even know that. That's actually pretty impressive. Good for him. But don't get me wrong, I like Jamar Chase as a player, and I think that even despite their struggles this year, Cincinnati's offense was absolutely electric and super fun to watch. Mm-hmm. But being super fun to watch and being an exciting player doesn't really do it for me at this point. I mean, Saquon Barkley had a historical running back season, and I understand a triple crown is a big deal, but let's not pretend like all the wide receivers that are usually at the top of their game were at the top of their game this season.
Definitely true.
This was definitely a down year for wide receivers, and I don't really even think it was close to a competition for who was the best one this year.
I don't think it's the triple crown is really the reason that I think Jamar is the old boy, because triple crown is a very subjective thing. It's always related to the season. That's the thing. So is offensive player of the year. Any award is subjective, but. Okay, but yeah, that's my case. I think Jamar Chase is the offensive player of the year.
I just, you got to look at the effectiveness, not only their effectiveness on the field, but the effectiveness that they bring to their team. Because Offensive Player of the Year, in my opinion, is basically just a non-quarterback version of the MVP, which is something that you even said last episode when we were talking about Saquon. Alpoy is just MVP for non-quarterbacks,
Mhm.
and I think if a guy has an argument for MVP normally, he should be a lock for the Offensive Player of the Year pick. I mean, Saquon might have been the single most valuable player to his team. Do you see Philadelphia getting anywhere as far as they did this season without Saquon?
Absolutely not.
Will Shipley is not carrying that boatload. He's not taking him there. He's not taking him to the promised land. Another shot at a bowl that this team so badly desired.
But what I'm saying is that if you put Philadelphia's defense on Cincinnati and Cincinnati's defense on Philadelphia, this conversation is a lot more closer than you think it would be. This is just talking in the context of the defenses and the team's performances, not how good their offensive season was.
Yeah, but there's still a lot that goes into that, and there might be specific arguments where Jamar Chase has the advantage. Like compared to his contemporaries, Jamar Chase was definitely the best wide receiver in the league. I will concede that 100%. You know, a guy like Saquon, even though he was obviously the best, Ravens fans will still try and argue that Derrick Henry was the best running back in the league this year, which, you know what? There is an argument there. Not that I think it's a good one, but there definitely is one. But Saquon just covers so many bases. I think he had the more impressive statistical season despite the Triple Crown win. His team has been more successful and he just looks better. Honestly, I'm taking it even all the way to the eye test. I just think he looks better as a player right now.
Well, yeah, Saquon's going to pass any eye test, but if you're going to go by the eye test, I mean, Jamar Chase is also fantastic when it comes to the eye test. He just looks like his routes are great, his catches are great, his runs after the catch are great. So I think this has definitely been his best season of his career, and it's just that Saquon's having such a good year, it's going to get a little muddled by that. And I think in any other year he would be the Opoy, but I think he should be. I'm not saying that he will get it.
See, I just can't. mm, You know what? Fine. You know what? We do this show to have our own opinions. So
Yeah,
you know what? I'm just gonna let you have your own opinion
I
on this one.
appreciate that. I
The,
appreciate that.
let's move on to the defensive player of the year
It's a
conversation.
little more bit of muddy waters.
Yeah,
There's a
this
lot of
is
people that are in the running.
I don't necessarily think that there's a wrong answer for this pick. And I'm gonna actually let you take the lead and tell me who you think. Make your case right now.
All
Try
right.
and convince me.
So the popular and the by far the favorite to win this award right now is T.J. Watt, and he's probably going to win it.
It's weak.
But just saying who is going to win it, should win it, is lame. I really think people are gonna think I'm a Bengals fan, but Trey Hendrickson was the best and most impactful defensive
Oh,
player of
wow.
this year. He led the league by multiple sacks. He had 17.5, and then Garrett was in second with 4. He tied second with T.J. Watt for tackles for losses. He led the NFL in pressure with 89, and he was on a team with less favorable defensive schemes, and there was no real other power tackle helping him on the Bengals front seven. He was like the only one notable on that Bengals front seven, and he was still getting insane production. And I just feel like T.J. Watt has more help schematically from Mike Tomlin's schemes and from people like Cam Hayward on
Yeah,
that Steelers defense, who
can't
makes it
forget Cam.
easier for T.J. Watt to have the impact that he has. So
Definitely.
I think that Trey Hendrickson had an outstanding season and it has to be recognized.
Yeah, and you know what? I personally don't agree with that take, but I will just build upon it a little bit. Trey Hendrickson really did have a phenomenal year for how bad that Bengals defense is. You really got to feel for the guy. He was really playing his buns off, and that Bengals defense, it feels like they just failed on every single
their
level.
their safety play was really bad, and it's funny because they the Bengals have so many finalists in awards. They have Burrow in finalists for MVP. They have Jamar Chase in finalists for Opoy, Hendrickson in finalists for Depoy, and they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I've never seen a team be so good and suck all at the same time.
But saying that defense sucks, he still had an amazing season, and he was pretty much, aside from Cam Taylor-Britt, the only bright spot of that defense.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but honestly, my pick for Depoy this season is a little bit of a style pick, I will admit. I don't know if statistically he was the best defensive player in the year. I just think it's a guy that in a year where there hasn't really been an insanely standout historic defensive player season, I got Pat Surtain.
Okay.
I always got to appreciate the positions that don't get a lot of love, you know? The biggest ones, offensive line doesn't get the love they deserve.
Definitely not.
Tight ends don't get the love they deserve. And I think defensive backs do not get the love they deserve, at least in like the NFL media sphere, you know? It's always, I feel like the last couple of years, it has always just been, you know, the edge rushers, the TJ Watts, the Myles Garretts, or even like the middle guys like Aaron Donald. And granted, I'm not going to sit here and say that Aaron Donald didn't deserve any of his Defensive Players of the Year awards. I mean, Aaron Donald is possibly the second greatest defensive player we've ever seen play the game. You know, everyone except for Lawrence Taylor, pretty much. I would, yeah, in the modern era, he's 100% the greatest. I think throughout all of NFL history, he has an argument for second greatest. But I always love watching a position that I don't think gets the love that they deserve, get the love that they deserve. And I think it's Surtain this year. He, when targeted, he had a 61.1, quarterbacks had a 61.1 passer rating, and he only allowed 8.6 yards per reception. Not blow you out of the water stats. He was pretty low on the interception count. I think he only had like 3 or 4 interceptions all season. But it really is an important factor being able to shut down a team's potential best player. Because, you know, for a lot of teams, their best skill position guy is their wide receiver. You know, there's a few exceptions to that. The Ravens got Derrick Henry. The Eagles got Saquon. The Bills got James Cook. But for the most part, the most talented player, not the quarterback on a team's offense, is going to be their wide receiver one.
Yeah.
And being able to just effectively remove that player from the offensive scheme is such an underrated part of getting a defense going and managing to make those big stops that are really necessary, especially, you know, later into the season when games start getting more intense. There starts getting more that physicality, more that chippiness, that angst. I think a really good defensive back not only puts that physical aspect on, but it also puts that psychological aspect on. You know, wide receivers, the thing wide receivers hate is getting locked up. And locking up a wide receiver is a perfect way to get in their head. And when a team's star starts having some issues like that, that is when a team can really start to fall apart and snowball.
Very true. Obviously, Pat Surtain is great. He's the best cornerback in the NFL. I don't think there's much debate about that. He's been that for consistently the past couple of years. But I think what a lot of people underestimate is the level a cornerback has to play to get the depoy. The last person to do it was Stephon Gilmore in 2019, and he was absolutely out of his mind. He had 6 interceptions. He had a passer rating of 32.8, and he had 1 fumble recovered, 53 tackles, and he had 20 passes defended. And that is just an insane stat line. Bill Belichick got greatness out of him, and he's still a good player. But I think the level that a cornerback has to play for, they have to go above and beyond to affect the game than they normally play. Because a cornerback's play style is to take a receiver out of the game. It's not flashy. So in order to get considered for a defensive player of the year, I feel like a cornerback has to really go above and beyond to make the most difference they can via interceptions, via forced fumbles, passes defended. So I think Pat Surtain in a right world would be the defensive player of the year, but I just don't think that the NFL is going to consider that for this season.
Yeah, and honestly, I that is definitely a fair enough point. I think you're right. I think part of winning an award in the NFL, whether it be MVP or Opoy or Depoy or Rookie of the Year, I think you do just need to have that flashiness factor to it. You know, it needs to be an exciting guy to pick for the award. which is, why we never see some of the less flashy positions be considered for those awards. I mean, my first thought is Travis Kelce in 2020 had a monster season, but it just wasn't very flashy. It was very efficient. And he, in my opinion, he got snubbed for the Offensive Player of the Year. But, I'm a Chiefs fan, so I'm always going to think we're getting snubbed for something. But
Yeah.
honestly, I think that's a fair enough point. And you honestly have kind of led me back to the Trey Hendrickson thing. I think I might just agree with you at this point. I think even TJ Watt being the favorite is quite the stretch. I mean, he did not have nearly the dominant season that not only we've seen from him, but at this point we expect from him. And the Steelers defense just kind of fell apart in really important and really random moments throughout the season.
I definitely agree. And not a lot of that was TJ's fault necessarily.
Yeah, necessarily, but
I just get bored with TJ Watt
Yeah.
winning the Defensive Player of the Year. I think he only won it once, but just give it to someone new.
not to mention the season that he did win it, Miles was better. I've thought that there haven't been a lot of seasons where TJ Watt has been better than Myles Garrett, but that's just me personally.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Myles Garrett fan. I love what he does, and I think
he's great.
I think he's just a lot more fun to watch than TJ Watt, and maybe that's where my bias comes from, but that's besides the point. All right, when we get back, a new era is upon us. We're going to be talking a little bit of NBA. We're talking the quarter, Adam Silver's proposed changes for the quarter lengths, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. What's going on with them? Stay tuned when we get back on Jake's Hot Takes.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to wayneswaycabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostics. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
Need tires? When you think tires, think Tire Discount Center. For over 50 years and 3 locations, all the brands, all the sizes. Want to accessorize your ride? Tire Discount Center. Need auto repair? Tire Discount Center. When you think tires, accessories, remote starters, heated seats, or auto repair and service, think Tire Discount Center and save time, money, and hassles. Dulcin Avenue, Middletown, Route 211, Middletown, Broadway, and Monticello, and online at TireDiscountCenter.com. Tire Discount Center.
Your life relies on power all day, every day. With winter upon us, winter-related storms and power outages disrupt your home life, work life, and more. Don't be left in the dark. Call Essential Power Systems, your local Generac automatic standby power dealer, protecting your family, home, and business. Already have a Generac? Ask about maintenance, monitors, and cold weather kits. Call Mike the Generator Guy for a free estimate. 845-227-0514. Online at EssentialPowerGenerators.com. Never be powerless. Get Generac by Essential Power Systems.
Storage Boss Self-Storage is a temperature-controlled facility in New Windsor. Demands for storage tend to be driven by many life changes. Box, organize, save, simplify. Servicing business, organizations, military, and residential customers. Convenient, economical, and clean. Military, veteran, public safety, local business, and senior discounts offered. Call 845-562-BOOK or 845-562-2665 to reserve your unit today.
Need a new oven? Then the place to go is Michael's Appliance Center. They are committed to providing excellent value and service. Whether you need a stove, washer and dryer, or refrigerator, they offer a multitude of products in every price range. Customers at Michael's Appliance Center receive exceptional guidance and support from their highly trained, knowledgeable sales staff. Shop for appliances ranging from dishwashers to outdoor grills. Visit Michael's Appliance Center, 585 Main Street in Middletown, or go online to michaelsappliance.com.
Welcome back to Jake's Hot Takes. The ever charismatic Matt Galgano is kicking us off right now. Matt, Adam Silver has floated the idea. He hasn't said anything 100% one way or another, but he has floated the idea of shortening the quarters played in an NBA game from 12 minutes to 10 minutes.
Huh.
And
Interesting.
honestly, I'm kind of intrigued by it because I kind of see it from both perspectives. I understand that it is very important for player load management to be taken into account. Obviously, basketball is an incredibly physically intense sport on the body. And I understand the NBA's precautions that they take in order to make the game safer for the guys that play it. But on the other hand, I mean, that's 8 minutes of content, 8 minutes of game, 8 minutes of basketball that we are just not going to be able to experience now.
Yeah. You know, I just don't think that's the answer for the NBA. The biggest issue with the NBA right now is their ratings. Their ratings have been historically low this season, and that's been pretty well documented. And I really don't feel like shortening the quarters is the answer to that. I think the thing that bogs down NBA games for most people is the fouls and how much time those fouls and free throw shootings consumes and cuts into the game. It just takes so much time out of the game because, hey, you cause a foul. Someone takes 30 seconds to do free throws. But on top of that, a coach can challenge a foul. So then you can have a situation where a coach challenges a foul, gets rejected, and then on top of that, you have to go back and shoot those free throws anyway. So it's just kind of frustrating as a viewer sometimes to see that. And I think the other part of the NBA that is with fouls that is kind of troublesome is when it gets down to the last minute of the game, and the point of the game is to foul people, and that just kind of slows down the end of the game. So I really don't think that shortening the quarters is the answer. I think they have to do something about the fouls in this game.
So you think that this move, the shortening of the 12 minutes to the 10 minutes, the shortening of the quarters, you think that that's a move by the NBA to increase ratings?
Yes, 100%.
How exactly would that go and increase ratings? I'm not exactly sure that I can follow you on that one.
Well, I feel like a lot of people feel like the games are too long. And the NBA is saying, oh, we're going to I'm Silver suggesting we might lower the times of the quarters. But I just don't think that's the answer for that.
I think honestly though it might end out in a better product because a longer game time means that players need to pace themselves more. You know, I mentioned earlier those 8 minutes of unplayed basketball that we're just never going to see. Realistically, those 8 minutes could be the difference between a player going 100% and a player going, 80, 70, maybe even down to 60% if we're talking like Luka playing defense or something like that.
Yeah.
But I just think that it would be interesting to see the NBA try and push player intensity a little more. And definitely one of the ways to do that is to shorten the quarters.
Mm-hmm. They've tried to do that in recent years with their game minimum requirements to win awards. And that also hasn't been too effective. I mean, Joel Embiid practically ended his career, I'm joking, playing these games. I mean, he said in a quote that he'll never play back-to-back games again, which I'm not sure if that's true or not. But I just don't feel like this is the answer for the NBA to propose 10-minute quarters.
Yeah, that's the problem with those genetic freaks like Joel Embiid being as big as he is. The more time he spent on the court, it's like his body is just falling apart underneath him. Like, I can't imagine that it's very easy to be that large and play a sport as physically intense as basketball. I mean, the human body is only designed to be pushed so far in so many directions. Yeah. And, we see it time in and time out. Those really big guys, they do not last unless your name is Shaq. And even then, Shaq wasn't all that good in his twilight years, as I like to say.
Celtic Shaq is a generational phrase.
Yeah, I mean, I love describing things as Celtic Shaq. I
Yeah.
think it's the perfect way to describe anything that is washed.
But you look at it, and a lot of obviously the most successful NBA players are the bigger guys who have more fragile bodies. Look at Wembanyama.
Yeah,
This is the new cash cow for the NBA.
definitely.
They definitely want to protect that guy, and they want to protect players of that similar archetype. So I definitely understand the motive behind this, but I feel like there's better ways to do it. What do you think is something they could do instead of this, or do you think it's the right decision?
I think just changing the programming in general. I think that making it so that a team other than Golden State or the Celtics or the Lakers or the Knicks getting those primetime spots, I think that's so important. Could you imagine how many more people would be excited about a guy like Paolo Banchero if the Magic were getting a lot of nationally televised games? The NBA is just trying to milk their stars, their older stars too much by giving, like I said, the Lakers, Golden State Warriors, the Phoenix Suns. They're just giving them way too much primetime spots. Let's get the Charlotte Hornets on primetime. Let's see LaMelo Ball play in primetime. He's such an exciting player to watch, and I feel like it's really difficult for a casual NBA fan to follow him.
Yeah,
But
I agree with that.
speaking of exciting to watch, man, them Cleveland Cavaliers. Have you seen those Cavs?
Yeah, they've been great this season.
Yeah, they have
They've
been.
definitely overachieved, and I don't think anyone coming into the league this year saw this roster as good as they've been.
Definitely not. But there is a slight problem with the Cavaliers right
What do
now.
you think it is?
Have you seen their record in the last 10 games?
Yeah, they've lost half of their loss total has been in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and you look at the teams that they've lost against, and yes, they're really good teams.
The
Well,
Rockets twice.
yeah, the Rockets twice. They lost to the Thunder and they lost to the Pacers. I would say the two Rockets matchups and the Thunder are teams that are like, yeah, I could see the Cavaliers going down to these guys. You know, the Thunder and the Rockets both just have absurdly talented young cores that are really finding their footing together. I mean, these are probably, if not the two best teams in the West, the best team and one of the best teams in the West. Because I still think the Thunder are the best team in the West. I don't think there's a lot of debate around that. But Houston's definitely up there. And I mean, the losses to Philadelphia and the Pacers, I think that they were just unfortunate, but I think that they are indicative of something. And that is that the Cavaliers' bench play is simply atrocious.
You don't think it's good
Aside
enough?
there's one guy, one name to save them all, but he starts sometimes too. So I don't know if I'd count him as a full bench guy, but Ty Jerome has been phenomenal in any game I'm about to mention. Any time that I'm talking about these guys, just know Ty Jerome is not included in this. But it's just really concerning seeing a team that is so lopsided towards their stars, you know?
Yeah, I mean the bench has just struggled to put up consistent points, and someone like Karis LeVert, who has been pretty consistent for them, he's been hit or miss, but he's also been injured the past week with a hand injury. So we'll see how that progresses and see if he comes back for them. But they need their bench guys to stay up if they want to keep up with teams like the Celtics or the Thunder.
Yeah.
Do you think that they still have a chance with their lackluster bench play? Do you think that they have a chance to make the finals or win the finals?
Absolutely. I think they still do. This isn't a problem that is 100% going to tear a team apart. I mean, we've seen it's not impossible for a team to win while having their stars, front loading, but it is definitely something to be concerned about. It definitely kind of recontextualizes the Cavaliers as this, we saw them early in the year as this team that just was mowing down everybody, just getting through them. Sometimes it was close, sometimes it wasn't, but regardless, they were getting it done. And I think that these last 10 weeks have kind of been a comeback down to earth moment for not only the team, but the fan base as well. They're kind of realizing, like, okay, winning a basketball championship is not just about getting off to a really hot start. And part of sustained success is being able to have guys come off the bench and play significant minutes and actually get things done. I'm going to go through two particularly awful bench player experiences in two of the Cavaliers' last 5 losses. Sam Merrill versus the Houston Rockets. He was out there for 15 minutes. He got 3 points and 2 rebounds. He had a plus minus of -16, which for those who don't know, a plus minus is just kind of a general number of how effective a player was on the court. Negatives is bad, positives is good. The higher your positive number, the better you did. The lower your negative number, the worse you did. So a plus minus of -16 is pretty bad. And then Jorge Niang, I think that's how you pronounce his name, had a plus minus of -17. He was out there for 18 minutes, got 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 turnover. Against the Thunder only had 3, or the Thunder's lowest plus minus bench player was at -12. And versus the Thunder, the Cavaliers had 3 players who had a plus minus lower than 27. That is just not basketball. That is not how you win as a basketball team.
Yeah, it seems like this Cavs team is going to live and die by its role players, and whether they can get consistent play.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at a team like the Celtics, who just has amazing role players, and they build that roster top to bottom with great role players that fit a specific purpose.
Yeah.
Like, you see someone like Peyton Pritchard is really good at those deep threes. The Cavs, they really just need people, need role players who can take their team to the next level. And I'd be curious to see what they would do at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I do wonder if they're going to try and make any moves, but I feel like almost teams get a little scared to try and make trades during this kind of situation. I mean, it's understandable. You know, you have a team right now that's doing really good, even though they've had a rough last 10 weeks. You know, their losses have come to some pretty good teams. So don't be surprised if you see the Cavaliers just kind of sit on this current roster and see how far it goes. But anyway, that is going to do it for this segment. When we get back, we are going to be discussing the Pro Bowl for the NFL and Brian Schottenheimer as the new coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be exciting. Stay tuned, folks.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to wayneswaycabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostics. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
Storage Boss Self-Storage is a temperature-controlled facility in New Windsor. Demands for storage tend to be driven by many life changes. Box, organize, save, simplify. Servicing business, organizations, military, and residential customers. Convenient, economical, and clean. Military, veteran, public safety, local business, and senior discounts offered. Call 845-562-BOOK or 845-562-2665 to reserve your unit today.
Need a new oven? Then the place to go is Michael's Appliance Center. They are committed to providing excellent value and service. Whether you need a stove, washer and dryer, or refrigerator, they offer a multitude of products in every price range. Customers at Michael's Appliance Center receive exceptional guidance and support from their highly trained, knowledgeable sales staff. Shop for appliances ranging from dishwashers to outdoor grills. Visit Michael's Appliance Center, 585 Main Street in Middletown, or go online to michaelsappliance.com.
Boom. It's time to talk about Pro Bowlers. Jake's Hot Takes. We're here right now. Are you excited, Matt?
I'm ecstatic to talk about.
Oh, I'm so ecstatic. Oh, man.
Man, I've been riveted by these Pro Bowl games.
Oh, man. I love the Pro Bowl.
Riveted.
No, the Pro Bowl is so
awful.
lame.
It's
It's so lame.
there's nothing interesting about it. What
Oh,
you do is
man.
we get to it's just there's no point to it anymore. It's really just a participation trophy. And it's just there's a lot of the best players that would be in the Pro Bowl don't want to participate in it.
Yeah.
Because it's really just a humiliation ritual at
Yeah.
this point. It really is. It's just a humiliation ritual. I mean, what point is there to players like Lamar and Josh Allen participating in it since they're already on a Hall of Fame trajectory?
Oh,
And there's no reason for them to go to the Pro Bowl. It would add nothing to their resume. They would just go and throw a ball in a playground for three hours.
sure, but I don't know. I think that I don't know. I think there could be a lot of really fun situations that the Pro Bowl could get you into. And honestly, I think it's kind of a weak move out of Jackson and Allen to forgo the
Yeah,
Pro Bowl
I do.
games. It's like at this point, it's NFL tradition. All right, the NFL is not going to get rid of the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, never. And they shouldn't. But
And
it's just been awful the past couple of years.
it has been terrible, but part of the terribleness of it has been the fact that the personnel hasn't been good. We had to watch Mac Jones go out and represent the AFC a couple of years ago. We had to watch Tyler Huntley go out and represent the AFC not too long ago. Yeah, you remember him?
Yeah.
You remember Tyler Hunt,
love
Pro
Tyler
Bowler Tyler Huntley?
But and
Oh,
this year
man.
we have Drake May and Russell Wilson replacing Allen and Lamar in that conversation.
The most deserving players, might I say. You saw Bo Nix also opted out of playing in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I
And
was wondering where Bo Nix was. See, he opted out.
we know now who the best rookie quarterback in the AFC is.
I guess so.
Obviously, it's the one with the Pro Bowl nod.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I just don't like it, honestly. In my opinion, the NFL, if they're going to go with this casual skills competition approach to the Pro Bowl games like they've done in the last couple of years, they have to rethink how they do it entirely. What they should do is that they should, because they're also going to go to 18-week season pretty soon. What they should do is move the Pro Bowl to the second third half of the second or third part of the season, and they should treat it like the NBA All-Star break, where it's a universal bye week for all the players, and then you just have the Pro Bowl games that week, and you can still have the bye week for the Super Bowl if you want and do something with that. But I just feel like it's not fun. They have to know the ratings are not good. No
Yeah.
one's watching this Pro Bowl.
I don't watch it. I remember last year, I even thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to watch a little bit of the Pro Bowl. I turned it on and I watched it for 5 minutes and I was like, you know what? No, I'm not subjecting. I'm not subjecting myself to this. There's no point in it. That's the thing. That is the ultimate thing. A Pro Bowl at this point means nothing.
Yeah.
They
It's the
need
biggest thing.
they need to come through and find a way to make participating in the Pro Bowl valuable again. Because right now it's not. There's no reward for the Pro Bowl. There's nothing. The NFL should go and at least put like some money behind it and say like, whichever team wins, or whichever player wins, will donate, $100,000 to a charity of your choice or your foundation. Because, a lot of players have foundations and groups and charities that they operate to help their communities. But the NFL should do something like that. You have the best total score, $100,000 to your charity.
Yeah.
Could you imagine players would probably at least put their backs into it a little bit, do something.
It's just so pathetic. And I don't think that moving it to the middle of the season would fix the effort. It would probably make the effort a little worse.
Yeah, guys would not want to be.
Guys would not want to risk their healths in the middle of the season, and I totally understand that. It would become like the NBA All-Star break. But I feel like since they're already giving this casual approach to it, why not just move it to the middle of the season? And then this could also account for some player health in the middle of the season.
Totally. I mean, it feels like such a free win. The NFL could allocate the Pro Bowl into the middle of the season, the second or third half of the season, second half or
the third third of the
third of the season, probably like probably around like week 14 or week 13.
Yeah, like week 13 sounds
right in that area. And then boom, 18-week season or 18-game season, and the players get 2 buys. I feel like it's a win-win scenario. And then the guys who want to participate can go out and participate, maybe for some kind of prize. I know I keep on harping on the prize thing, but
Yeah.
that's just something personally that I think would really benefit the Pro Bowl
Do you think-
having a little bit of stakes.
Do you think if they decide to move the Pro Bowl into the middle of the season, they should get rid of the bye before the Super Bowl? Or do you think they should?
No, they should definitely keep the bye before the Super Bowl. I think that is really important for the two. It's kind of like a reward for the two teams to have more time to prepare and rest up and heal. I mean, could you imagine how mad people would be if a player got injured in an AFC Championship game and then they removed the bye week and then they didn't have enough time to get healthy to play in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I think people would rightfully be pretty frustrated. I mean, the NFL keeps on talking about player safety and player health, so let's actually prioritize player health instead of that just being code for, making small changes so people will get off our backs.
But then you're talking about adding another 2 weeks onto the NFL season for the All-Star break and for Week 19. So then you're talking about the Super Bowl being in late February. So they would have to figure something out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I mean,
Maybe start the season earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard talk of one of the preseason games getting removed, but that's not my job.
Yeah.
That's not my job to figure that out. And speaking of new jobs, Brian Schottenheimer,
Yes.
son of Kansas City Chiefs legendary coach Larry Schottenheimer, actually. Yeah, he coached for us back in the day. I don't even know when exactly, but
The day.
I think this is a terrible hiring. An in-house hiring for the Cowboys is not what they need right now. They need someone fresh. They need someone beautiful. They need someone incredible to come from outside of the organization and, save Jerry Jones's legacy. And I think that this move is just indicative of Jerry Jones being okay with more of the same. The fans hated Mike McCarthy. The fans wanted McCarthy to go. They fire Mike McCarthy. Let's bring in the guy that's been working with Mike McCarthy for his entire tenure as a Cowboy.
Yeah, but while I don't think this is the most flashy hire the Cowboys could have made, despite having a bad season, the Cowboys are still very much in win now mode. And this is the offensive coordinator they've had for the past couple of years, and their offense has been good. They've got good production out of CD. They've got good production out of some lower tier wide receivers with Dak, and they just paid a lot of money to Dak, CD, and Micah Parsons. So they're in win now mode, and I think probably the worst thing the Cowboys could have done was bring in a guy that would introduce a bunch of new offensive schemes that was way different from what the Cowboys were used to.
Yeah, but the Cowboys' it's not like the Cowboys' offensive schemes have even been good in the first place these last couple seasons. I would say that the Cowboys, as of late, have been carried much more by the actual talent that they carry on their roster, as opposed to Mike McCarthy being able to outcoach opposing coaches. The truth is, the reason that the Cowboys have been so good is because Dak can make the throw, CD can make the catch, and Parsons can make the tackle. And that core has just been really talented. I don't think we've ever recognized Mike McCarthy, at least recently, as one of the best coaches in the NFL, because the Cowboys offense keeps falling short in big moments, or it keeps falling short when CD is made irrelevant in games, because once the talent is removed, there's no coaching or clever scheme or trickery or anything like that to help give the Cowboys the edge. Once talent isn't enough, they fall apart, which is why the Cowboys are the only team in the NFL to not make a conference championship post 2000.
Yeah. So the funny thing about the Cowboys firing McCarthy is that besides his first season with the team, which was the season that Dak got injured, and this season where Dak got injured, he's led the team to 12 wins in each of those 3 seasons. And this has just led to no postseason success. The Cowboys, they're America's team. They want to see postseason success. So I think what they're doing here is they're getting they're promoting this offensive coordinator into their head coaching position, and they're going to see if this core can really do it. Maybe McCarthy was holding them back. They're going to see if this core can really do it. And I think ultimately this will be a good move for them, and they can really get what they want out of Dak, let him run the reins of the offense. And the biggest question about the Cowboys is not the offense for me, it's actually the defense. Their defense was pretty bad without Dan Quinn as their defensive coordinator. So I'm curious to see what they do defensively this season. I think that's where the Cowboys will live and die, honestly, is their defense rather than their offense.
Yeah, and I think that's actually going to come down to a lot of free agency acquisitions and probably a lot of the draft. I think the Cowboys, if what you're saying is true and the Cowboys really are looking to make a run right now with this core, I think that this season's free agency and draft are going to be so important. I mean, Jerry Jones said that he was going to go all in on free agency last offseason, and then the time came and went and nothing happened.
Signed Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, he signed Ezekiel Elliott. He signed, 300-pound and 75-year-old Ezekiel Elliott. And yeah, it really did help the Cowboys this season, didn't it? It just, I see this trend with Jerry Jones. He just does whatever he can to get the fans and get the media off of his back. The fans said they wanted McCarthy gone. They fire McCarthy. Who do they bring in? Mike McCarthy too. It's frustrating because it's so clearly just disingenuous out of Jerry Jones. I don't think the Cowboys will ever be successful until Jerry Jones is in bed and retired.
I agree. I don't think Jerry Jones is a good leader. He's had a couple of good draft picks in the past couple of years. I mean, Micah Parsons, CD Lamb, those are both stellar draft picks.
Totally.
Plus talent. But other than that, they have not had good success recently at homegrown.
Yeah. It's just disappointing. I mean, the Cowboys are probably in for another year of disappointment. Speaking of disappointment, when we get back, we're talking about Jimmy Butler. I'm sure he's pretty disappointed right now. Jake's Hot Takes, WGNY, 94.5, 1220 News Talk Sports. Stay tuned, folks.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to wayneswaycabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostics. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
Storage Boss Self-Storage is a temperature-controlled facility in New Windsor. Demands for storage tend to be driven by many life changes. Box, organize, save, simplify. Servicing business, organizations, military, and residential customers. Convenient, economical, and clean. Military, veteran, public safety, local business, and senior discounts offered. Call 845-562-BOOK or 845-562-2665 to reserve your unit today.
Need tires? When you think tires, think Tire Discount Center. For over 50 years and 3 locations, all the brands, all the sizes. Want to accessorize your ride? Tire Discount Center. Need auto repair? Tire Discount Center. When you think tires, accessories, remote starters, heated seats, or auto repair and service, think Tire Discount Center and save time, money, and hassles. Dolson Avenue, Middletown, Route 211, Middletown, Broadway, and Monticello, and online at TireDiscountCenter.com. Tire Discount Center.
Your life relies on power all day, every day. With winter upon us, winter-related storms and power outages disrupt your home life, work life, and more. Don't be left in the dark. Call Essential Power Systems, your local Generac automatic standby power dealer, protecting your family, home, and business. Already have a Generac? Ask about maintenance, monitors, and cold weather kits. Call Mike the Generator Guy for a free estimate. 845-227-0514. Online at EssentialPowerGenerators.com. Never be powerless. Get Generac by Essential Power Systems.
Need a new oven? Then the place to go is Michael's Appliance Center. They are committed to providing excellent value and service. Whether you need a stove, washer and dryer, or refrigerator, they offer a multitude of products in every price range. Customers at Michael's Appliance Center receive exceptional guidance and support from their highly trained, knowledgeable sales staff. Shop for appliances ranging from dishwashers to outdoor grills. Visit Michael's Appliance Center, 585 Main Street in Middletown, or go online to michaelsappliance.com.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Jake's Hot Takes. We're getting close to the end of the episode, but there's something really important that I want to talk about, and that is the Miami Heat and their situation, disaster, whatever you want to call it, souring, soiling. There's a lot of words you can use to describe it, but
none of them are good.
Jimmy Butler is the key to it all.
Yes.
And I'm going to come right out and say it. I think Jimmy Butler has quickly gone from one of the most likable players in the entire NBA to one of the most unlikable players.
Well, I mean, this is really the cycle with Jimmy Butler. I mean, this is what happened in Chicago. This is what happened in Philadelphia. This is what he does. I mean, he plays well for a team he plays for when they need him to, and then things just sour between him and the team.
Yeah, but it was the difference between his exits from Philadelphia and his exits from Minnesota and his exits from Chicago is that it was at least like a fun situation, you know? I think Jimmy Butler going and taking the third string Timberwolves players and going and beating up on the star players and then, you know, chirping all that that crass nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was hilarious. Like that's just a really funny thing to do, is to go and take the backups and then beat up on the starters. But now it's just whining. It's just whining and complaining and trying to muscle your way out of a situation. And Pat Riley is not here for it. The owner of the Heat, Pat Riley, he is not happy right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Butler paid a serious price for his behavior in Miami.
Well, yeah, I mean, his fines have totaled over $2 million at this point.
Yeah.
And the thing is about what you're saying, like the thing of what you're saying is, it's not too long ago when Heat fans were chanting playoff Jimmy in the playoffs. And then now we're here where he's trying to force himself out of a team.
And he was so much fun during that bubble run when the Heat made the finals. He was phenomenal, and he's been phenomenal these last couple playoff runs that they went on. But at this point, what team would even want to go out of their way to get Jimmy Butler? A drama-ridden, aging superstar who, you know, he's good for a lot of the grit and the hustle pieces of it, but he's not going to lead a team to a championship. If he couldn't lead that Heat team to a championship, I'm not sure any of the teams that would want him and could afford him could get him to a championship.
Well, it also seems like Jimmy Butler's being very picky in the teams that he wants to be traded to.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Heat will trade him because the other thing about that is that they could hold on to him for the whole season and sign a trade after this in the offseason. But why would they risk that? Just trade him now, get the most you can out of him, and you can still get some success from this season. But Jimmy Butler released a statement saying that two teams he would not want to be traded to is the Memphis Grizzlies and the Sacramento Kings, which is confusing to me. Like, I feel like Jimmy Butler would actually be pretty effective next to Ja Morant on Memphis.
Yeah, it is curious because that is kind of a connection that I could see being really fun, is Jimmy Butler and Ja Morant. Personally, when I heard that Jimmy was going to the trade market, one of the teams that popped into my mind was Phoenix, the Suns.
Yeah.
Already an incredibly top-heavy team, but they could just say whatever and go in on that, you know? I know the situation with Bradley Beal is a little tough right now, but it looks like he's not going to be, or it looks like those two teams, or Beal and the Suns, are mutually looking to split ways at some point. I mean,
but the thing about Beal is that he has a no trade clause in his contract. And do the Suns really have the money to pay Jimmy Butler? I feel like that's also the destination Jimmy would like to go to.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think maybe I got this idea in my head because he mentioned them as one of the teams that he would like to go to at some point. But I don't know. I just thought that combination could be really fun. But I also understand that there are a lot more factors that go into it other than it would be fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, I doubt that Jimmy would be happy with saying, hey, let's go send Jimmy Butler to Charlotte. Let's go send him to Brooklyn. Because there are a lot of teams that have a lot of cap space.
Send him to Utah.
I guess a good fit. But I feel like Jimmy, he wants to go to a contender.
Yeah.
And B, he wants to go to a team that has warm weather.
Yeah.
Is the other thing. People voting Portland, he's not going.
He's not going to Portland.
There's no
Get real.
chance.
Get
No chance he's
real.
going to Portland if he doesn't want to go to Memphis or Sacramento.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about the Jimmy situation right now, though, is that I feel like I can almost hear Pat Riley plotting from New York. I feel like he is going to cook up something a little devious because not a lot of owners have really been able to put Jimmy in his place.
Yeah.
And I think that has kind of led to, I mean, league-wide, we've seen that owners are not really able to keep their players in check. I mean, you see all the situations that happened with Kyrie, especially over COVID, all the trouble that he was getting into. You see the James Harden situations in Houston and Philadelphia. It's league-wide, owners are having trouble controlling their players right now. But Pat Riley has always been known as a guy who will bring down the iron fist if he needs to. And don't be surprised if Jimmy gets sent wherever Pat Riley wants him to go and not wherever Jimmy wants to go. I can't imagine Jimmy has much say in where he actually goes right now.
If I were Pat Riley, I would just make the best trade available for the franchise. And also, important in the situation is that Tyler Herro was just named to his first All-Star. Yeah. So that's a bit of promise for this Heat team.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not over. I mean, Jimmy is a big part of this Heat team, but this Heat team has so many players on it that I could reasonably see contributing in major ways, especially guys that weren't that big that weren't all that big involvement wise, but are now coming into their own. I mean, obviously, Bam Adebayo, he's a pretty good center. He's having a bit of a down year this year. Mm-hmm. Tyler Herro, pretty good. But, I mean, aside from that, you got guys like Josh Christopher, who's been, not bad, but he's been all right. Alec Burks, also not a huge name, but they're guys that can contribute, And I think one of the most tried and true strategies that any team across any sport can use is just building a solid foundation. And that's what the Heat have right now. So I don't think the Jimmy trade is going to be the destruction of the Miami Heat in any capacity.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, the Heat, they're a team that has a long-lasting, sustained success, and that's a lot of because of Coach Spoelstra. He's been very good for them throughout his tenure in Miami. So we'll see how this goes, and I hope that the Heat can get something good for him. Yeah,
for sure. I want to see the Heat come away from this game or from this situation as the winners. I'm very frustrated with Butler and all of his nonsense. That is going to do it for this Sunday edition of Jake's Hot Takes. I got my days confused. Thank you all for listening, and make sure you tune in next Thursday at noon for our next exciting episode. I hope you have a wonderful day and night, and thank you for listening.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to wayneswaycabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostics. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
Storage Bar Self-Storage is a temperature-controlled facility in New Windsor. Demands for storage tend to be driven by many life changes. Box, organize, save, simplify. Servicing business, organizations, military, and residential customers. Convenient, economical, and clean. Military, veteran, public safety, local business, and senior discounts offered. Call 845-562-BOOK or 845-562-2665 to reserve your unit cabinet today. Need a new oven? Then the place to go is Michael's Appliance Center. They are committed to providing excellent value and service. Whether you need a stove, washer and dryer, or refrigerator, they offer a multitude of products in every price range. Customers at Michael's Appliance Center receive exceptional guidance and support from their highly trained, knowledgeable sales staff. Shop for appliances ranging from dishwashers to outdoor grills. Visit Michael's Appliance Center, 585 Main Street in Middletown, or go online to michaelsappliance.com.